Somewhere around mid-February 2016, I got a message from Top 9, and they asked me if I wanted to battle Crazy Legs in St. Petersburg on the 1st of July. It gave me 4 months to get ready. In Singapore, so I was looking at like how Vicious Victor behaved since he won the last BC1. I looked how Mano would battle since he won the BC1 before that, and I realized that most of the time, you know, especially after the second or third round, that nobody would go down and dance for longer than 4 times 8. So I took these 4 times 8 and I realized that when I go to practice and I would keep it in 6 rounds, and each time I would do 4 times 8 on the floor, that would be it. That should be my standard. So from there, that was my measure, that was my threshold. And I realized that if I do that, then I'm gonna go the right way. Another thing I did, of course, I had to study my enemy, right? I had to study my opponent. So of course I tried to get all the videos I could get of Crazy Legs. There weren't that many online, so I found a footwork video of him. And also then I realized that Legs, every time he would get down, even though it was edited, he would always dance for between 3 and 4 times 8. So I was like, alright, so that's a good measurement. So if I have 4 times 8, I could definitely make it. So this is how I wanted to keep it in the battle as well. And then, if by the end of the 4th or by the 5th round, then definitely I could still get a little bit harder and I could still get a little bit stronger, and I make my solos a little bit longer. So that's when I started to do my dance practice. And I mainly practice in a place called Zille here in Berlin-Charlottenburg. It's right around the corner from my house. So every Tuesday and Thursday night I was going there from 6 to 10, and I was working on my dance, I was working on my moves. So in the beginning, when I went to dance practice, I mainly worked on the beginnings. I structured my solos in a way where I wanted to have at least 1 power move in each solo. I wanted to have a good freeze in each solo. I wanted to have a good go down, a different go down, and definitely, most of all, I wanted to show my vocabulary. So I was practicing on the beach, I was practicing on the grass, I was practicing in the Zille. Basically every time I gave a workshop or I was traveling, I always made sure, even in my hotel room, I made sure I was practicing. What you gotta realize is doing power moves is much harder than doing footwork. If you see somebody doing power moves after 30 seconds, usually you fade out, you die, right? If you're doing footwork, a solo of 1 minute could be easily done. Yeah, you could get up, you could get down, and so on and on. But if you really want to fly, 1 minute is hardcore, except if you're doing head spins. So my head spin was the move where I could really chill. Yeah, so in a head spin, if I'm going up on my head and I start spinning, that's the move where I relax. So I really needed to know at what moment I would do my head spin at best. See, the whole thing for me was that I knew that I had enough vocabulary from all these years in dancing. But my conditioning, I don't know, I didn't really feel well. I heard that Legs was in the studio 5 days a week, boxing, that he was on a bike. I knew that he was getting ready and that his stamina would be on top. So I had to do something about that as well. I went in a fitness gym, and the first thing that I tested out was something that I call a hurricane. I was doing those hurricanes mainly when I was traveling. The hurricane looks like that. I would do high knees for 15 seconds. Then after that I would do like a 5-second sprint. 3 times. After that I would do an exercise like push-ups for another 10 seconds. Then after the 10 seconds push-up, I would do 10 burpees. Then after that, right away into 15 seconds high knees again. Then again into 5-second sprint, into 10 seconds push-up, then into 10 seconds burpee. And I would do that 3 times. And after those 3 times, I would do like a 1 to 2 minute break. Then I would do 15 seconds of high knees again. After those high knees again, 5-second sprint. And then I would change the exercises from what I did before. I would do like chin-ups for 10 seconds.
Wow.
And maybe skates for another 10 seconds. So now in April I went to UK Champs in London and I took Noel with me. Noel is an old friend of mine who was always hanging out with Battle Squad. He's from my hometown O18 and he introduced me to the kettlebell. Now with Noel and Joey from UK Championships, we went to a fitness place. Joey introduced me to HIIT, High Intensive Interval Training, and by talking about this all the time, then Noel introduced me to this book that I should get. When I finally received the book, I started reading and I found out right away the best exercises for my purpose. So what I had to do is I had to take the kettlebell snatch. After about 2 weeks, I did an exercise for 25 minutes. And 25 minutes is quite long when you think about that my battle. The battle that I'm gonna do probably only gonna last maybe 6, maybe 10 minutes, but that's max. So I wanted to adjust my exercise a little bit more towards how the battle is gonna be. I took a heavier kettlebell, I took a 20 kilo kettlebell, and with those 20 kilos, I worked for 15 seconds, I had a 15-second break. I worked for 15 seconds, I had a 15-second break, until I had 25 minutes done. If you look at a 120 beat per minute song, then you know if you dance for 4/8, it will be 16 seconds. So now I was thinking if I dance 4/8 and I work on my kettlebell for 4/8, it will kind of like result to the same thing. So the exercise was perfect for me. So my whole approach was that the battle was going to last for 6 rounds. So and then after the 7th round it was over. And we were all happy.